Over 35 nationalities, 7,000 participants and upwards of 60 volunteers. For 2 days, the world seemed to gather at Grand Rapids, Michigan as it celebrated all things culture. From the fashion to the cuisine, the music to the art, the dancing to the exhibitions, it was like Africa had come alive in the United States. And the culprit for all this was none other than Kenyan-born event planner Freda Kanini.
It's really a wonderful, vibrant, colorful event. It started as 1 day. We went to 2 days, then we tried 3 days, then we went back to 2 days. It's just a huge production. It's a lot of work. We really bring local artists that are playing different music. We bring dancers. When we can afford, we bring people from other states as well to play. And then we do have food from different countries of Africa. We also, of course, have local people here that cook because everybody is welcome.
Yes, A Glimpse of Africa Festival is an annual event all about celebrating the beauty and purity brought by the Afro communities living in the US.
They come and represent their their communities, their food, their music. One of the most beautiful things I love about our event, and this is actually because I love flags. I do have a flag parade. It's my joy. I just love to see all the flags go through the stage from, all the way Algeria to Zimbabwe, calling them by name, giving fun facts, and people taking pride to carry the flag. And of course, we also carry the American flag because we are here. So that parade is my favorite part of every festival. And it's so beautiful and people just love it. The people time it like, 1 o'clock, we're going to come and see the flag ceremony. So that's one of the highlights of the moment. When people move here from other parts of the world, the American system is very different from other places. I can say from Kenya, from other African countries, and mostly it's very Eurocentric. So a lot of things don't conform to our culture, to our languages, to our systems. So you can feel very lost and be in a very confusing state for a very long time. Not to mention the challenges and the complexities around immigration, and also just anything, looking for work, looking for any way to get out of those situations you're facing. I just wanted this not to happen to other people. I wanted to find a way to create a safe space for others who might experience the same thing, to have a community, to have friends, to have people they can relate to when they are struggling.
That was the motivation behind the event, informed by Freda's own experience when she relocated from Kenya about 20 years ago.
I ended up staying 12 years before I could ever travel back home. As a young woman moving here, I had such big dreams to support my family, to go to school, do wonderful things, and just go back home at some point. But that's not how things shaped out. I ended up being stuck in the complexities of the systems for 12 good years. And in those 12 years, I lost my mom, I lost my grandma, and I lost my uncle. And they were all the adults I had in my life. They raised me. My mom was a single mother, and my grandma was my second mom. My uncle was my dad, and all of them died when I'm still here. And I never got that opportunity to go home and bury them. Never got to see them when they were suffering. So I just was supporting them from here, sending money, calling doctors, doing all those things. So that was a very dark time. And all of the dreams I had were feeling like they were thrown through the window. So just to go through that and not thinking that I'll ever make it through it, I just wanted this not to happen to other people. I wanted to find a way to create a safe space for others who might experience the same thing, to have a community, to have friends, to have people they can relate to when they are struggling.
This resolve is what led to the birthing of A Glimpse of Africa, a local nonprofit serving the immigrant and refugee communities in America.
So we have all nations represented, and we support through 5 types of programming: mental health and wellness. We do cultural celebration. Also, we do civic engagement and advocacy. And also, we do resource navigation. So people who are coming to the US and specifically in West Michigan can access resources in a easier way. And then also we do a lot of language and translation, interpretation to help people alleviate the language barriers. And also we do economic empowerment, which means we support people to connect their businesses and other resources so they can become empowered. As Africans specifically, we had the lowest support. Like we were the most underserved. Other places, other groups like Latinos, Asians had more systems around them. But for Africans, we didn't have anything here. Especially in West Michigan, where I live, there was either maybe a church or somewhere where people could go. And those places are more like silos in the sense of like you are either going to be with only people who speak French, only people who speak Swahili. So people are grouped in tiny little groups of where they come from. So when you're trying to find like a huge system to support you, it's very small because you are only really surrounded by like 5 Kenyans or maybe 5 Nigerians or 10 Liberians or Ethiopians only stay in their corner. So all of us were just so split in tiny silos that we could never move anything. We couldn't make change together. So you'll see that my nonprofit, the main underlying value is bringing people together.
Despite her noble intentions, Freda says starting a nonprofit in America as a foreigner is easier said than done.
The hardships that come with starting a new idea were there. 100%. So first people were like, oh, well, that's too big. That's a lot. People are too busy. And some people would even say, Africans don't support African things. This will never work. And also like the system here is not easy. You just don't wake up and start building something, you have to go through the channels and the systems. So it was not just one day. It took me even to put together the very first celebration, which is actually the foundational piece that built all of what it is today. It was like going to the city, talking to them, sitting down, telling them the idea I have. And they would ask me, how many people from Africa are here? I don't even know the numbers because I didn't have any census outcomes. So they would be like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds like a great idea. And now, of course, when you think of it too, there's money needed to make this happen. So there was also the funding situation. But also good news was that some people wanted to offer their support in kind. So for example, DJs who play African music will be like, I'll play music for you just for free. The city of course doesn't give you anything for free. So I was like, how am I gonna do this? And there was a little donation from them. Yeah, so I just really went hard, very, very hard. So I think the challenges of funding, people buying into the idea, and also just knowing all the pieces that I have to pull together. So pulling all the moving parts into one thing. Background, I'm a planner. I do actually own a planning events company. So I have a lot of skill sets in organizing and planning. So that helped. But yes, there were those challenges for sure. And also just commitments of people saying, I can commit 10 hours to support the work. Obviously, pulling together a festival in the US is very different than pulling it together in probably back home. So, but somehow God was in the middle of all of that. We were able to do it, but then not without blood, sweat, and tears.
There was also the not so small aspect of permits and licensing.
To collect any money, you might have to adapt some paperwork. So IRS documents to collect money. And then if you don't, you have to have a fiduciary. So someone might need to represent you in collecting. And then you have to know how to remember to track it so you can be able to report to the IRS. And then you have to also be doing everything according to the city ordinances, to the county. So all of those things have to be done correctly. You can't just you cannot cut corners. You can't wake up and decide, oh, I'm just gonna go and do a little thing on the corner, and then the city will be like, do you have a permit for that? So everything has to be permitted. You cannot just host, even just as simple as a walk. If you decide to do a 5K walk, if you decide to do anything, it has to be given a permit by the city. Other things involve just making sure you're reporting to the neighbors. So one of the shocks that I learned, like for example, when I was starting the organization, not because of course I started as a way to celebrate the culture. As I said, one of the biggest pieces of this work, our one arm of work is cultural celebration. And I remember they said you must send letters to all the neighbors and make sure that they are informed about your activities because they might say no. I was like, what? Neighbors are giving me permission? Yeah, so there are very simple little things that we never think about that you must do here. And again, every state is different. Sometimes even cities and counties can be different, but majority of the same rules apply everywhere. You can also just bring, like, also if you're putting tents, say I was going to have tents, because they asked, what are you having like in this specific work? And I talked about people have tents, so you have to observe all the fire codes. You can't put things in a risky way together. In a case of an emergency, how do we evacuate? Another thing is that you have to remember you must always write an emergency plan for any big event that you put together. If an emergency was to happen, how do we evacuate people? We even have like, you have to know all the shelters around you in case of a tornado or anything like that. So I think really I followed every single rule. I was one of their best event organizers because they said I checked all my boxes. So really just following all those rules when you're beginning an event. If you're beginning an organization, you have to quickly as you can start to register. Of course, you can't register as soon as possible because mostly you need a team, you need officers, you need all that. So I didn't register Glimpse of Africa until 2020 because through 2018, 2019, I was still gathering people. I was not even really collecting anything significant. I was still working. Nobody was being paid. We were all volunteers. So, but registration of anything you are doing is important.
8 years on, and A Glimpse of Africa has grown to not only being a recognized brand in Michigan, but also an important pillar of the community.
Nobody can do this without God's grace, resilience, and strength because He renews our strength every day. I think it's a very demanding journey to serve others and sometimes even forget about your own struggles. It's a very selfless space. But I'm very, very proud of being able to take space and also teach people about our culture, teach people about our people and how strong we are and how we bring so much to the table in the United States. Sometimes it's been looked up as if we come here to take and we come here to not bring, like anything, but we bring so much. We bring our knowledge, our talents, our languages that are so beautiful. So I just feel very proud to see us being able to be recognized for who we are and also being able to connect people to resources so they can thrive and be able to see the dreams come true instead of struggling for years like what I did. So I am very grateful, and also just helping people in need, especially when you're really struggling, having that support system and just somewhere you can go to and say, even though you don't give me the answers, you can connect me to an attorney to begin filing my documents, or you can connect me to a therapist, or you can show us how to do our, craft. How do we sell our crafts better?
Currently, the nonprofit boasts of a formidable team of 7 full-time employees supported by 2 consultants and a number of volunteers. But for the Meru native, this is just the beginning.
There is a lot of tough things going on that are against immigrants and refugees. So the one thing I can say is that I'm still very hopeful and optimistic, and I see that the journey might be difficult now, but there is hope for the future. Nothing lasts forever. No difficult times last forever. Sometimes even good times also come to an end. So I'm praying and trusting that we will be able to continue programs. We will be able to continue our cultural celebrations, but not without concerns and fear right now. But also I am seeing that together we are moving forward. We've been talking to different stakeholders, the county, the city, the people who resettle refugees, and the other partners that come alongside me when we talk about what's going on. So while it's not easy, there is also hope. But I see that we will continue to be a very strong, trusted agency that represents the continent of Africa here in West Michigan and perhaps even grow beyond Michigan and other states. So I know it's not going to happen in a short amount of time, but my goal is to see us become completely a strong foundation that is not going to be shaken by short-term challenges, that we have stability. So those are the goals, to strengthen the foundation. And then at some point, maybe when we have all these foundations set, I'll be able to retire and hand over this to the next generation.
Freda's journey is beyond impressive, turning a dark time into a force for good for all, a testament to the unrelenting African spirit. But if there's one thing you can take away from her experience, it is this.
I wouldn't really change much of everything, but I would advise anybody else who wants to take those steps to think really thoroughly about how they would think if things went a different way than how they anticipate. How would they handle it? Because I think one of the things I watch back home is that people have one thought of how when you go abroad, things will shape out. Life will change, everything will just go perfectly well. But I think for me, I would just say I wouldn't change my steps here because here is where I am.
So, the next time you find yourself in the vicinity of West Michigan, why not pay them a visit and make plans to attend the next event? Just say Chams Media sent you. And that's Daring Abroad.